Hey strong people, Kalle Beck here from StartingStrongman.com. If you don't have Strongman Implement access, don't worry, you can pick up my ebook, How to Train Strongman at a Regular Gym, which goes over how to do all that without having implement access and what gym lifts carry over best to Strongman and how to structure a Strongman program without equipment at store.startingstrongman.com. Now that I am done with my own shameless plug, so I can support myself and make more videos. This is my 4th video this week, and I appreciate everyone for tuning in. I plan to make more and probably do one a day. So if you hit subscribe, I really appreciate it. I guess I'm still plugging. So on to today's news. World's Ultimate Strongman is back. Not with World's Ultimate Strongman Dubai, but with World's Ultimate Strongman Bahrain. April 11th, 2020, Bahrain International Circuit. The beast in the Middle East, well, we can announce a day earlier. It's official. In our 3rd year, World's Ultimate Strongman expands to Bahrain with an additional show and plans his Strongman weekend in collaboration with GCC's Strongest Man to collectively put up a total cash prize of over $350,000, the biggest ever in the history of Strongman. Stay tuned for more info, athletes, events, and of course pay-per-view live stream info. And don't stay tuned because I have all of that for you. Final list of athletes straight from the people at World's Ultimate Strongman is Hafthor Bjornsson, Martins Lisis, Mateusz Kieliszkowski, Luke Stoltman, Tom Stoltman, Alexei Novikov, Rano Hanla, Konstantin Janashia, JF Garon, Terry Hollands, Iron Bibi, Mateusz Belsak. So that's a stacked list of competitors. And then we go into the events, max deadlift with a Texas barbell, and I'll get to it, don't worry. Log press for reps, 60 seconds, 170 kilograms. Farmer's walk for 40 meters with drop, so you drop it and turn, with drop and turn, 170 kilos each hand. Giant dumbbell press for reps, 60 seconds, 100 kilograms, and the same 10 Atlas stone run from 100 to 200 kilograms. So other than the 10 Atlas stones and the max deadlift, it's pretty reasonable weights, and I think that's a very smart thing by World's Ultimate Strongman to not make this show crazy heavy. Those are all very doable events for these athletes because there's a lot of shows around this time, and just going to get to it right now, is that this is on April 11th. The weekend before, April 4th, is Europe's Strongest Man. So Hafthor Bjornsson has pulled out of Europe's Strongest Man. And he says he's going to attempt to deadlift 400, I'm sure he's going to hit 400, 500 plus kilos to get the world record in Dubai. He put on his Instagram 360 kilogram deadlift with a deadlift suit, 3 sets of 1 rep. This was always my planned weight as I'm tapering to the Arnold. But this week I accepted another challenge, and that is to compete at World's Ultimate Strongman Dubai show on the 11th of April in Bahrain. There's a lot of talk about what it's going to take to be considered the best deadlifter in the world, and it's time to compare apples with apples. I will still be competing on the elephant bar at the Arnold's, but if you've been following, you'll know that the deadlift event will be on day 2, which means that the athletes will be attempting the deadlift in a fatigue state, which makes achieving 501 kilograms much harder. At World's Ultimate Strongman, the deadlift will be the first event on the first day on a deadlift bar with a deadlift suit and figure 8 straps, and I will be ready to deadlift 501 kilos and break the world deadlift record. Basically saying just like Eddie Hall did, except I don't think Hafthor is going to fly his own personal deadlift bar down to Bahrain. So that's big news. Gonna go for that. They keep saying that they're going to put out how much they're going to pay someone to deadlift 501 kilos, and I really just hope it happens because I'm tired of talking about it. I think it's great. I don't think anyone was going to do over 501 at the Arnold. I still think Thor has a good shot of winning that and breaking his own elephant bar deadlift record at the Arnold. But this is coming up, and money talks. There's $350,000 in total prize money, so first place is probably over 80. That's going to mean between March then April, if Hafthor wins both of those, he's going to be netting over $160,000. Plus, if they're not announcing how much they're paying to break the deadlift record, it has to be more than $50,000. I don't know, but that's what everyone's been doing. Everyone's been saying $50,000 to break it, $50,000 to break it. I'm guessing it's $100,000 to deadlift 501 kilograms minimum. So why is Thor skipping out on Europe's Strongest Man? He has nothing to prove. He's won the show 5 times. This is a business. Anything can happen. His foot injury he had at Worlds, stuff like that. Before you know it, you're not winning any shows. The life of an athlete, you have to make as much money as you possibly can. Well, you can. The window's short and it can end any day. So if he has a chance to go to one show and walk away with over 6 figures, he has to do that versus Europe's Strongest Man. I don't think a lot of the other athletes are going to skip out on Europe's because of this, because I think this is a doable show. For a lot of these guys compete all the time. They can still go to this show, and other than maybe the max deadlift, the log's a very doable weight. Farmers is a very doable weight. The dumbbell's only 100 kilos. Granted, just the normal injuries that occur between the Arnold, and Europe's and everything. I think, it's a good training day for them, and that's why. And I think it's a good thing that World's Ultimate Strongman didn't make this another super heavy show, knowing that they just kind of threw it in the mix of all these other big shows that are coming up. They kind of had to do that in order to make it doable for all these athletes, and it gives the athletes another opportunity to get paid, get some of that Middle East money. It's good for everyone. It does. I understand as a fan's perspective being upset that someone like Thor is not competing at Europe's, but they have to go where the opportunities are, and this showed up, and that's an opportunity. If I was in his position, I couldn't pass up. If the promoters want to secure these athletes to stick to doing a show, they have to pay them to show up and pay a holding fee, a contract. And this happened in the early 2000s. There was 2 federations for strongman, and they would do that. They'd pay. You could only compete in our shows, and a lot of athletes got a yearly salary to do so. Unless other competitors, promoters want to start doing that, the athletes are independent contractors. They could go and get injured on the first event and get 10th and make almost no money. That's the chance that they take as independent contractors. And it's not like the NFL or something where you're a salary paid person, you get paid this much per year. They pretty much get paid to show up, and not even just to show up, but to place at these shows. Some shows there's some sort of appearance fee. There's a lot of things that aren't really talked about, but they have to do it. Thor's not going to have a chance to match Marius's 6 Europe's Strongest Man victories, but there's always next year, and I don't think it discredits Europe's Strongest Man at all. But we'll just see. But huge news from the Middle East. World's Ultimate Strongman Bahrain. You can go to worldsultimatestrongman.com for more information, and of course hit subscribe here on YouTube, and we'll have all of the information coming up from all these shows and everything else going on in the world of strongman. So hit subscribe for the latest strongman news, and of course go to store.startingstrongman.com for all of your strongman training needs. Something I'm going to do from time to time on some of my shorter news videos is answer your questions that you left comments on my previous videos, because there's honestly some of you guys asked some interesting questions and some of you don't. But for the ones that are good or just feel like doing, then here we go. Curious about your name. Is your family from Scandinavia? No, I am first generation American. My grandmother fled the Holocaust escaped the Holocaust from Poland, and then my dad was born in the Philippines, which they were then moved out from. So my last name Beck was used because they got fake papers and changed their name to blend in and be able to get out of Europe easier. Our actual family name is a lot more Jewish. And Kale is because my mom just liked the name. I'm pretty much Jewish. I don't have any Scandinavian roots. It's funny because the other person said the name sounds 100% German, and apparently it did to other people because my family survived. What are your opinions on deadlifts and weights in general for children? Well, depends on what age you're asking. I think if you're introducing any sort of strength training to kids, you should make it fun. They should not be on a structured program. Form should be, should be paramount, and they should be playing sports to get better. If you look at the top strongmen and other athletes, they played lots of sports before they got into strongman. And I think everything's perfectly fine. I think impact sports have a lot better or more, ways to, stunt bone growth. They're a lot higher risk of injury. But like even my son is turning 2 in April, and we do little games. Like I tell him down, and he squats down, and we go up, and he squats up, and he does little squats, and he thinks it's fun because it's a game. I'm not telling him to squat. And we run around, and that's what you should do. Kids should go run, jump, play sports. And if they want to join in and do some deadlifts with you, set it up in a way that it's fun, but they definitely shouldn't be, maxing out because there's no point, and you should just make it a game. Do you like the changes the Arnold made over the past few years, shifting to more timed / endurance events, thus making it more similar to World's Strongest Man, or should have stayed unique in its test of extremely heavy feats of strength, both static and moving? I always felt like the Arnold stood out for that reason. Also, I'd like to see them go back to the Hummer tires, mix it up a bit. I agree on the Hummer tires. I think it would be time to go back. My worry is I don't think there's enough room on the bar for what the athletes are capable of now. What we're doing, like 1,100 and something pounds before, and like they had all the tires. They'd have to do some way to make all those tires heavier or something. But yeah. I still think it's the heaviest show of the year. They have the heaviest dumbbell ever in a contest at 330 pounds. We have a max deadlift, which, that's as static as it gets. But more than just keeping it heavy, the Arnold has always done a good job of being innovative in events. A lot of the events that you see as commonplace in strongman were kind of debuted at the Arnold, and then they kind of found their way into other shows like the circus dumbbell, the axle clean and press, stone over bar for reps. All of those events you didn't really see ever until the Arnold either brought them back because they're historic lifts, or just kind of reintroduced them, or invented them. And so I think you're going to see a lot more. Pretty much, if you're an amateur, watch the Arnold, and whatever happens at the Arnold, you're going to see in a lot of shows coming up over the years. Like I remember circus dumbbell was in everything when Derek Poundstone was, killing it at the Arnold on that. Like it never existed. Then that was in almost every show, and they do it as a second press a lot of the time, which I'm a big fan of because 2 presses is good for me when I was competing. So I love pressing. But yeah, I like it. I think that I like that they introduce new things. We have the trial by stones. We have the wheel of pain, which I still consider new because it's, they changed the rules around this year because last year was kind of a trial year for it. An event that they kind of reintroduced everyone. The circus dumbbell, they put a new twist on it, making it strategic, which I covered in a previous video. I think it's a lot of fun. So those are the questions I'm getting to this time, and I appreciate you watching. And of course, hit subscribe and ask questions in this video. That it doesn't have to be related to the thing. Just whatever you'd like to have me answer in the future, and I'll do my best to do so.